And welcome, fans, to the Averett Sports Network. My name is Eddie Glenn, and shortly I will be joined by Davin Wilson. We have the season football opener between the Averett Cougars and the Randolph-Macon Yellow Jackets. Cougars enter this contest 0-1. Yellow Jackets enter 1-0. This is the Gold Rush game. And as I mentioned earlier, the season opener for the Cougars. Stands are packed. Weather is good. Food smells great. It is football time, fans. This year will mark the 18th season of the Cougars football, and Coach Cleve Adams' consecutive fourth year of coaching this Averett team. This year's captains are seniors Tyreek Abel, Kenneth Covington, Spencer Dowdle, Wilson Gregory, and Don Warren, along with junior Paul Wiles and second-year freshman Connor Showalter, as both teams enter the field. Just to mention, Averett sophomore kicker/punter Cole Westbury earned a USA South Conference Special Teams Player of the Week honors on Monday. Westbury set a program record with a 51-yard field goal in the season opener at Hampton-Sydney College again. That is an Averett University record, as the Yellow Jackets are set to kick the ball off. And we are underway after the opening kickoff. And almost breaking free. Averett on offense. Joshua Eubanks will be manning the quarterback position for the Cougars. We have jet sweep action. And an inside zone play up the middle goes nowhere and nowhere quick.
And Eddie, Eubanks really had a great breakout game last season, regular season game against Methodist, and really led the Cougars to the victory offensively, especially through the air.
Definitely. And the quarterback position is something that Averett is looking to improve upon, as the receivers are nice. The O-line is beefing up and nice and strong. And Eubanks is the guy that they feel they can let charge their team into victory.
Well, you also had Miles and Filipkowski, and Filipkowski definitely with a more experience, and that play is going to be blown dead around the 47-yard line. Pass went to Miles Johnson, the freshman, checking in at 5'6", 155 pounds.
And we mentioned C.J. Filipkowski, Davin. C.J. Filipkowski actually has a few football state championships to put on his resume.
Did not know that, Eddie. That's a fun fact right there.
Absolutely.
Somebody did their homework this weekend. So Eubanks under center. Looks like Bowman in the backfield.
And they will give it to Bowman on an off-tackle type play. He's going to fight forward. He's going to struggle to make it back to the line of scrimmage.
And, Eddie, if there's one concern I think that Coach Cleve Adams has right now, it is his offense. And, the Cougars' abilities to put up points when they need to. And not only put up points when they need to, but also be able to put them up quickly. It's a very methodical offense, Averett is. Very dependent on the feet of Sean Bowman.
Definitely, and they have to get Sean going and going quick and early. It's a very good punt. As back there to receive the ball, Davin, was number 24, Eric Hoy, someone I played high school football against, and someone that the long snapper on that punt team, Seth Brindle, played with in high school at Clayton High School in Clayton, North Carolina. A very electrifying player.
And Eddie, fun fact about Clayton, I was actually dropping a friend of mine off at the bus station in Greensboro a couple of weeks ago and had Googled in the address back to my house, and it thought I had said Clayton, North Carolina instead of Danville, Virginia. So I was about 20 minutes away from Clayton, North Carolina before I realized I had screwed up.
Randolph-Macon hands the ball off. Great run defense there.
Cougars defense very stout this year, very experienced team. We saw it last week against Hampden-Sydney. And really, the Cougars really felt like they should have won that game, talking with head coach Cleve Adams down after the game, also listening in the huddle. And it's definitely a game Averett feels like it should have won, and Averett feels like it should be off to a 1-0 start instead of 0-1. But two quality ODAC opponents to start things off.
Absolutely. Randolph comes out in the I formation. Handoff right up the middle. Tackle on the play by Don Warren.
And Don Warren, one of those huge pieces of this Averett defense. And you were talking about their offensive line and their defensive line, and Eddie, really one of the biggest offensive lines that I've seen Averett have, at least in my 3.5 years being involved with this football program. And, you know, Coach Cleve Adams is definitely going to need it with Bowman, and then also the freshman running back, Delquan Bigelow, who had an outstanding game last week against Hampden-Sydney as well, picking up over 100 yards.
And Davin, in talking to some of the football team, they are absolutely excited for Bigelow being on the team. They say that he gives you the same explosive ability as Bowman and at the freshman level. So, barred anything extreme, Averett's going to look to have that big piece for the next 4 years. They
will, and Bigelow very much Bowman kind of more of run kind of in between the tackles. He's not afraid to take a big hit, but, Bigelow definitely the one that's going to run through contact and just keep those feet moving.
Handoff up the middle. I believe I saw 99 Nehemiah Lassane getting in on that tackle. And we're talking about Don Warren, Davin. Don is your prototype defensive end. At 6'3", he has those long arms. He can really get to extension on those tackles and guards and see which way the play is going and get flat once he gets past that O-lineman, and really has the length that every coach looks for at defensive end.
Well, it's good that they've got him, and, they've also got Kenneth or KJ Covington back this year, and really solid Averett defense this year. Quarterback keep. And that looks like the ball is going to be spotted at about the 37.
And that was actually Eric Hoy back there.
That was.
You mentioned he did play quarterback in high school. I don't think they have him listed as a quarterback on their list. They actually have him listed as a wide receiver. So he gives you a lot of flexibility. As when he was in high school, he was a great quarterback. So he gives you flexibility when he's back there. He's a real definite threat.
And Randolph-Macon lining up in a pass offense here. Let's see if they run that or a draw.
And they throw the out route, and it's going to be determined on the referee's eye if they spot it at a first down or not.
And the chains look like they are staying still, so it looks like it may come up about a couple of yards short. So Averett really will have to defend well against both the pass and the run. Eddie, the pass or the run, not so worried about, but Hampden-Sydney picked up close to about 400 yards, if I'm not mistaken, a pass offense against the Cougars last week. So Cougars secondary definitely looking to get a test here early on in the season. Randolph-Macon shifting to the right, and we've got a penalty on the play.
And, Davin, that's actually a big penalty because that takes away some of the threat of them running a fake punt. And now you can send more of your guys to block that punt as they have. Looks like they only sent 3. Showed 10 and sent 3. This is Miles Bennett on the return. He's going to stretch this thing out wide, Davin.
He is, and Miles has the ability to do it. And, He's going to be tackled at about the 36, 37-yard line, it looks like. We'll see where they spot it. Miles Bennett, the local product out of George Washington High School. And, Eddie, speaking of George Washington, they had an absolute shootout last night, 57-56.
Wow.
GW picking up the win on the last-second field goal.
Last-second field goals will give. We mentioned overtime golden goal victories in a soccer game the other day. Last-second field goals will give your coach gray hairs quick as well.
They will. They will definitely do that. And Bowman looks like he maybe picked up about 2 on that. Picked up 3 is the official ruling. 2nd and 7, ball on Averett's own 40-yard line.
And Davin, when you watch Averett's offense, it's really put the ball in Bowman's hands 2-3 times. Hope that he picks up a first down. If he does, you hope that the defense puts more defenders in the box and less covering the receiver. Then they whip out and throw a bubble screen or a smoke screen and try and get the ball in the hands of the athletes outside and let them maybe pop one loose. So like we mentioned earlier, it's really imperative that they get their running backs, Bowman and Bigelow, going.
It is, and they've also got to have a little bit of mixture in their offense too, as Averett running looked like a little screenplay there, and it's going to go for some big yardage. I believe that was Bigelow on the reception, and he's going to get into Randolph-Macon territory.
And as we just mentioned, it's run the ball, and get it outside in the hands of the athletes and let them make plays.
Eddie, you called that one perfectly. So maybe you need to go down there and apply for a GA ship. So ball on the Randolph-Macon 48. No score here yet, as we are nearing the halfway point of the first quarter. And that's going to be a short gain for the Cougars. Looks like it's going to be about a 2-yard gain there. So they've still got Eubanks back there under center, the 5'9" junior, 198 pounds. Isn't he also, he's a member of the choir over here too, isn't he, Eddie?
He is, absolutely. And, I talked to a couple students and they say anywhere you see Eubanks, you see him singing. And it looks like, Davin, as the flag was being thrown, there might have been a fumble, but I think they're going to say that he was down.
And it looks like the flag came from the backfield, so we'll have to see if this is going to be a defensive penalty.
And that was Miles Johnson with the ball in his hands. And Davin, it's the first time he touched the ball in the season as a college at home, as a college athlete at home. So you got to think maybe there was nerves in that. I don't know whether he did put it on the ground or not.
Well, Eddie, I know, and it's actually going to go against the offense. And, Eddie, I know looking up there at that crowd now, and of course, so many of these kids that have been here 3 to 4 years are not used to playing in front of such a big crowd, but being down there at the field at the start of the game, that those stands are packed up there. So probably I'd say at least about 3,000 to 4,000 Averett supporters here, not to mention what we've got on the other side of the field with the Randolph-Macon supporters coming down for their team as well.
Absolutely. Eubanks drops back, steps up in the pocket, and he's going to take off. And it looks like he'll pick up maybe 4 of what they lost. Looking at about 3rd and 14 still, 3rd and 15-ish.
And, Eddie, that was one thing Eubanks did so well last year against Methodist in that final game was, he really found himself under the rush a whole lot coming from the Monarchs and did very well out of the pocket, finding Owens and Bennett and finding his receivers. And, of course, the departure of Terrence Owens, definitely a big hurt on the Cougars' offense.
Absolutely. Someone like Terrence Owens at receiver can keep a defense honest. Even when you're handing the ball to Bowman, you've still got to defend the pass, and Bowman delivering the boomstick there to the linebacker. And
I think we are going to see a punt here.
Absolutely. It was a good run, but still 4th and 8.
Well, we saw Westbury last week. He kicked the 51-yard field goal that got Averett on the board. It was the longest in program history. 47 was the previous record, and a good punt here. And it looked like Westbury took a hit down there.
And Davin, mentioning Westbury went to Wake Forest High School. Wake Forest High School is the home of Dexter Lawrence, who's a starting defensive lineman for the Clemson Tigers, and also Bryce Love, who's a starting running back for Stanford now that Christian McCaffrey is gone. So
okay.
He played on the same team as those two guys. So
nice
athletes coming from that team.
They really are, and, that's why they are one of the perennial favorites in the ODAC. And, of course, you've got to believe here, especially after seeing the Cougars last season, that the Cougars are on the right track as far as becoming a contender of their own. Ball played outside, or ran outside, excuse me. So
Trey Frederick is one of the first team ODAC players on this team, along with Greg Castle and Eric Hoy on this team. So definitely someone to watch out for. Don't want to give him much room to run to, because when he sees grass, he's gone.
And especially he showed it on the outside there. Nice footwork, cutting out, keeping the ball out on the sidelines over there, out on the wings.
Under center is the Yellow Jackets. Hand off to Frederick.
And that's going to be
Dejon Brooks there
with the tackle. Dejon Brooks, big game last week, career high 15 tackles against the Tigers.
And what makes that even more special, Davin, is that he switched positions. He played defensive line last year, and he switched to linebacker, which is more of an athletic and more mental position than it is on the D-line. Not taking anything away from the D-lineman, but it is. So to be able to switch positions and still have a career high in tackles in your first game at that position is no small feat.
So Randolph-Macon's going to take a timeout here. So while we are on a timeout, Averett looking to even up its record at 1-1 after the tough loss last week against Hampton Sydney. Eddie was up there covering it for the paper here in Danville, Virginia, and it was a tough game for the Cougars. Well played game between both teams. And Randolph-Macon absolutely cruising against Dickinson College last week out of Pennsylvania by a final score of 41-6. And Eddie, we're looking here at the game notes prepared beautifully by Drew Wilson, Averett Sports Information Director, and his staff, the sports information staff. And Averett looking for its first win in the series. Randolph-Macon right now 6-0. And the Yellow Jackets actually lead the series 3-0 in games played at Averett. And, of course, the last time Randolph-Macon came here, things got a little ugly a couple of years ago. And
Davin, we mentioned Trey Frederick earlier. Last time Randolph-Macon played Averett, he had 283 all-purpose yards and 3 touchdowns. It's an absolute wonder of a game as they're going to try and find him there. Davin, he was open on the sideline.
Ball just underthrown there.
Had the quarterback been able to put it on him, Frederick would have been probably in the end zone by now.
Or pretty darn close to it, Eddie. Pretty darn close to it. But also good rush, though. Good pressure by the Cougars
to force the bad throw.
Yes, to force that bad throw. And so you don't have to intercept or sack on every play. Just make sure that the quarterback knows that you're going to be back and you're going to be in his face.
And there's a good pass rush right there. Ball popped up, and it's going to be intercepted by Averett, Davin.
And that is Averett's third interception of the year. Give us a second and wait for the pile to clear, and we'll see who came down with it. I believe it might have been and it was actually number 43, Bradley Jefferson, the 5'7" junior, coming down with the pick. And that ball was really very unsurely thrown. The rush once again coming from the Cougars. And really not a very smart pass there by Estes.
And Bowman getting loose.
Ooh. And Eddie was that. Actually, I don't know. It kind of looked like that might have been targeting there for a second, but I think it was more shoulder action than anything else. So, but either way, the Cougars going to pick up a big first down, first and goal.
Now it's first and goal, and there's a quarterback change. It looks like Christian Miles has entered the game.
And Miles actually started the game last week against the Tigers.
They're going to give it back to Bowman. Same play, and he is going to get in the end zone. Is Sean Bowman, a 2-play drive after the interception. And the Cougars take the early 6-0 lead.
And, Eddie, this is what Averett needed to do. Averett needed to come out and really be able to take the wind out of the Yellow Jackets' sails. And that interception, big turnover right there deep in Averett's territory, leads to about a 20-yard scramble by Bowman, and then Bowman will take it in the rest of the way for the touchdown. Westbury's PAT on the way. And it is good. And Averett, just like that, is going to take a 7-0 lead. 2:36 left in the first quarter. Good start for the Cougars.
And that was a great. Just want to mention the snap by Brendel and the hold by backup kicker Noah Wren. And then the execution from Cole Westbury. Also great blocking from the O-line.
And, Eddie, we were talking about that earlier, being one of the biggest that Averett has had in recent years. And it was something that Coach Cleve Adams and offensive coordinator Shan Johnson really felt good about coming into this season. And it pays off right there as Averett just skates into the end zone on 2 plays, Eddie.
And want to mention while we're talking about the O-line is A.C. Woolard, sophomore. He's 6'3", 280, Davin. And when you see him walking around campus, he's 280 of all muscle.
Yes, sir. He's what you'd call a hoss down in Texas or somewhere. He is what you would call a hoss. Able to carry the type of workload that Adams and the coaching staff need from him. Tristan Burnett coming over from Guilford in his second year. And one of the big catches that Averett was able to do, courtesy of Burnett's transfer over here to Averett, was Tyreek Abel, who really had a big season last year in his first year at Averett, and will look to keep that success up here in 2017 for Averett. Westbury's kick. And that's going to be fielded at about the 3. Not a bad return there. Looked like about 24 yards maybe on it.
And that's number 43, Bradley Jefferson, on the tackle, who just had the big defensive interception, making plays on special teams as well.
Well, and that's got to make you feel good if you're head coach Cleve Adams, having young guys coming in and being able to make an impact.
Definitely, and special teams, to focus on special teams as well. A lot of players get lost in special teams and just want to play offense and defense, and special teams is so important as we have a pitch this way to Frederick. Frederick bouncing around.
Took about 4 Cougars to bring him down. Frederick just keeping those legs moving. And, Eddie, sometimes that's all you got to do, right, bud?
Absolutely. Keep those feet chugging and moving, and you'll get somewhere. Looking at a 2nd and 4 situation.
So Averett's defense looking to make another big stand. I believe this is the Yellow Jackets' 4th possession of the game.
Hand off to Frederick, and he's going to find a seam. He's going to hit the outside. Frederick could be gone. And that's not if Bradley Jefferson has anything to say with it. Coming from the other side of the field is Bradley Jefferson. Frederick really found a seam, hit another one, and a jump cut later, and he's gone.
About 63-yard gain right there, Eddie. So not a bad run there from Frederick. We'll get the Yellow Jackets into the red zone for the first time today. Actually, we'll get them over to their side of the field for the first time today. Looked like Averett had a lot of them stacked there in the middle, looking to maybe try to stuff something out right up the middle, maybe a halfback isolation, but instead they kicked the ball outside.
And they go back to Frederick. And Davin, don't be surprised if they come out in the same formation, Randolph-Macon, and throw a fade to that lone receiver to the right. They had one-on-one coverage, and why not give your playmaker a chance to jump for the ball?
That's it, especially with your guys out there, your corners and your safeties, who are not particularly the strongest people in coverage sometimes.
And you have one-on-one coverage on the right side with their receivers. Expect a post-corner combination with those two guys. Actually going to run a bootleg. It's thrown into the corner and intercepted in the end zone, Davin.
Wow, and Averett coming up big again. And we were talking about Tyreek Abel, and I believe that was Tyreek Abel that came down with the ball there in the end zone. No, that was actually Kevin Norcott coming down with it, the 5'10 senior, 190 out of Dumfries, Virginia. And, wow, the Yellow Jackets looked like they were about ready to sting the Cougars there.
And they had the receiver open, but a great job from the linebacker, able to sneak a hand in there. And absolutely great spidey senses there from Kevin Norcott to find the ball, catch it, and get down. And now the Cougars back on offense on the 20.
Eddie, we were talking about catchphrases the other night at volleyball, and you're not doing too bad catching on here with it, man. So it looks like we're going to have a false start on the Cougars. It's going to move the ball back to about the 15-yard line. So the big interception by Kevin Norcott.
And Averett's defense turning up big already outside of the one play. And here's Sean Bowman hitting the outside of the one big play to Travis Frederick that they gave up, the big 63-yarder. They have really been shutting down the Randolph-Macon offense. With someone like Frederick, you can only hope to contain him. You're not going to stop him all the way. And playmakers are going to make plays, so he'll break one every now and again. They did that, but you have to stop the other plays, and that's what they've done with two big early interceptions in the first quarter.
Well, they did, and, that was great awareness there by the Cougars, and a little draw play to the outside. A little screen play to the outside.
And that's freshman Miles Johnson, and he bobbled the screen, and Davin, on screens, it has to be a clean catch because it's quick, and as soon as linebackers see you, you're already behind the line of scrimmage, so linebackers are going to start flowing. You have to catch it clean and get up the field. So, again, I don't know if it's the nerves of having the first collegiate season opener or if it's just, being in college, but, hopefully that nervousness is gone and he can start making plays. I saw him in the scrimmage not too long ago, and he was catching them and getting upfield. So,
yeah, he does have a lot of talent, no doubt. He can do a lot of different things. And we'll see. And we're through the end of the first quarter here. Averett, a 7-0 leader right now over the Wildcats. So Averett right now, I believe, now these are unofficial stats, but I believe already 5 takeaways for this Averett defense this year, and just really technically a game. We're through the first 15 here, but still impressive numbers for Burnett and Adams. And, of course, Adams coming over here from Ferrum, very defensive-minded type coach. And Burnett, very talented young man as well. And that play is stuffed. It appeared to be stuffed, but I think the Cougars will still make something out of it, maybe about 2 yards. And that's going to be 4th and 2, Eddie. Actually, 4th and 1. But this deep in your own territory, especially with the lead, and a kicker like Westbury.
Play it safe.
That's it. Go ahead and get rid of it and make Randolph-Macon work with that long field.
And make sure we contain Eric Coy again, like Trey Frederick, and first-team ODAC player.
And a high snap. Good job by Westbury to corral it in and then square himself away. And so Randolph-Macon is going to take over at, it appears, their own 29-yard line. Looks like they're going to mark it about halfway between the 29 and the 30. We'll go ahead and just call it 30 for safe measure. That's what they have on the scoreboard, and we will trust their judgment. So Randolph-Macon not starting quite as deep in its own territory as they have been.
Pitch left to Frederick, lost his footing, and he'll go down after about a gain of 2.
And we've got the Chick-fil-A cow in the house, Eddie. That's a job I'm glad you and me do not have to do tonight. Of course, not a terrible night to do it. Not exactly hot.
It's not.
But still, you put on that much cotton, it's going to be hard. So 2nd and 7 now for the Yellow Jackets, who trail 7-0 after the first 17 minutes.
A little pump and go action, and the receiver's open, and he hits him in stride. And that was Hunter Henson in coverage, the sophomore safety. Randolph-Macon ran a little hitch and go, trying to get the safety to bite and get back over top. And now Randolph-Macon on the 29-yard line. And they hand it off to Trey Frederick.
And I think Frederick is going to be problematic here tonight. Of course, Eddie, you said it yourself, said you can't really contain him, just hope to stop him. So 2nd and short, ball at the Averett 21.
And they give it off to Eric Hoy, and he is stopped in the backfield. And Davin, they had about 4 or 5 people in front of him to start the play.
And that was Nathaniel Lake on the tackle, 5'11 junior, 205 pounds, out of Culpeper, Virginia. We're going to see Nehemiah Lasane coming into the game for the Cougars. So 3rd and 1. Hoy in the backfield, also Frederick. They're going to give it to Frederick. Frederick cuts to the outside. He's going to have the first and then some. And he is going to be knocked out of bounds at what appears to be about the 5-yard line. And they're going to actually spot the ball at about the 8. No, excuse me, they're going to mark it at the 10. So Frederick and Hoy both back. And so we're going to have a timeout at Averett here, and Averett trying to do a little regrouping, trying to make another big goal line stand here as they did the last time against the Wildcats when Norcott was able to come up with the interception that killed the drive for the for the Yellow Jackets.
And Davin, I'm not by any means on the Randolph-Macon sideline. I don't have their coaching strategy in, but if I had to guess, I would expect maybe a handoff or two to Frederick, and they would try maybe a fake handoff to Frederick and a quarterback bootleg all the way to the other corner of the field and try and catch the defense off guard with a fake Frederick run.
And you could definitely see that coming, Eddie. They do like to mix it up. They've got the receivers to do it, and we definitely know they've got the running backs to do it.
And Davin, Eric Hoy is in the backfield, so definitely expect read option here.
And you called it, Eddie.
And he's stopped in the backfield.
And that's going to be number 30, Victor Miller, on the tackle for the Cougars. It's going to bring up 2nd down and 12 now from the 12.
And I would expect a play action or a run to the outside by Frederick.
And here
Here's
it comes.
Your play action. And back to Frederick on a halfback screen. A play action halfback screen by Randolph-Macon will work as they get into the end zone.
But, still, Averett, though, has got to be feeling good about his defense. I mean, took Randolph-Macon 25 minutes to get onto the board. Doing a good job hauling for the PAT.
And that's something that's correctable on the sideline, Davin, is when they run play action, get someone on Frederick. Everyone cannot run with the play action. Everyone can't run with the bootleg. There's only 3 receivers on the field for that bootleg. Frederick, if he's running backside, you've got to put 1 or 2 people on him to make sure if a screen or a reverse of some type happens, that you at least have someone there to slow him down until help arrives. So that's something that's easily correctable on the sideline.
And I think it's definitely something head coach Cleve Adams will get corrected. And Cleve definitely has his game rituals, his routines. And one of those rituals is the blue shirt, blue vest, and the khakis on game day. And, of course, on homecoming, he will break out the extra special blue and gold diamond pants, which are fun to watch him wear. So Bigelow and Bennett back to receive for the Cougars. 10:33 remaining in the first half, 7-7 game. And Bigelow, he's doing a little dancing. He cuts outside, and he's going to give the Cougars pretty good field position, as it looks like Averett will start at the 38-yard line. And a nice open field tackle there by number 20, Anthony Williams. And Bigelow might have been gone if it wasn't for that open field tackle, Eddie.
Absolutely. You mentioned it earlier. It's always fun when freshmen are putting their heart and soul on the special teams. And this is Bigelow on the pitch. He cuts it back inside and keeps his feet churning. It's going to be a gain of about 4. But as a freshman, Davin, or even a rookie in the NFL, that's how you get your starting spot and even make the team, is putting your heart out on special teams. Is, a lot of people, like I said earlier, special teams can easily sometimes get overlooked, but it's just as important as offense and defense.
And that was Hall on the tackle. D'Angelo Barr, excuse me. I'm thinking D'Angelo Hall.
I don't know much about D'Angelo Hall, but I don't think he played at Randolph-Macon.
No, he did not. And if he was playing at Randolph-Macon, I think we would have a eligibility problem there. So Phillips with the tackle. Bigelow once again on the carry.
Although Randolph-Macon does have a defensive tackle, number 52, Steve McNair.
Oh, so, hey, there you go right there. And it actually looks like, I was going to say, it looked like Bigelow might be under center there for a second. It's going to be a keeper from number 4, Eubanks. He will not pick up much, but he didn't need much. And we'll see if that's going to be good enough for a first down. I don't think it's going to be. Phillips once again on the tackle. And they are going to move the chain. So Averett with the first down. So Averett looking to strike right back after giving up the score. Looking to strike back and tie this game, or go back out in front.
Play action to Bigelow.
And that's Bennett, and Bennett, a little hand move there, just about hand checked him. Hand checked his defender and just about broke it loose, but in the end he will be taken down, or actually knocked out of bounds.
And Cougars with some no-huddle offense. Safety's playing close to the line of scrimmage. They give it to Bigelow. And, Davin, this would be a perfect time to take your shot down the field because Randolph-Macon is playing run all the way. They are not defending the long pass at all. Their safeties are playing at linebacker level. And they are leaving their corners one-on-one outside.
And one-on-one with Miles Bennett can be dangerous sometimes.
So I would definitely, at 2nd and 7, expect a post or something down the field, a shot towards the end zone. And here's your play action. And they throw the screen.
Just a little bit to Bennett's left right there. Thank you for joining us here on the Averett Sports Network tonight. We will be with you for the whole entire game. Davin Wilson, and I'm joined by Eddie Glenn. So Eubanks will get the handoff to Bowman. Bowman keeping it moving outside, and he is going to be brought down at about the 18-yard line. So another nice tackle there by Barr. And Barr on this drive has been very big, as Averett really had some potential for some big plays if Barr hadn't done such a good job wrapping his guy up. Eddie, I've never played football before at this level or really high school, but I can imagine open field tackles are not easy to pull off.
They are not, especially when you have athletes like Bennett and Bowman and Bigelow. They can both deliver the hit, and if you lunge, what's the basketball saying? You reach, I teach. That applies the same in football. You get lost, you get stuck open field, your eyes get big, and you're like, oh, no. Your only hope is to, if you can't make the tackle, just slow him down until help arrives. And they'll give it to Bowman up the middle, and he is stuffed at first. And he lost the football, actually, Davin.
And I think they're going to blow it dead, though, before. No?
They're going to say it's Randolph-Macon football, as he got – when he hit the middle, he was stuck by a linebacker, and I think the backer put his helmet on the football and popped it out. That's good, smart football tackling right there.
It is.
Bowman lost the ball. So it'll be Randolph-Macon ball on the 11. The good thing is, if you're a Randolph-Macon fan, is that you have the ball. The bad thing is Averett can bring some blitzes because you are in the wrong red zone.
You're in the Cougar den.
And they're going to get Frederick out in space. Frederick's going to hit the outside.
And still moving the whole way. I believe that was Norcott and Sharif Bodie bringing them down. Bodie had a pretty decent game last week against the Tigers. So that is going to go down as about a 23-yard gain, 22-yard gain for Frederick.
Under center is the Yellow Jackets. And they will feed Frederick again. And, Davin, I don't know if you saw.
That was number 58, KJ Kenneth Covington, or Kenneth KJ Covington.
And I don't know if you saw, but Burke Estes, when he was under center, was looking directly at Covington because he saw his stance and looked him in the eyes for about 2 or 3 seconds before he snapped the ball. And Covington just unblocked and completely blew up the play.
Well, at 6 feet 250, or at 6 feet 240 pounds, he's definitely an imposing presence down there.
So 2nd and 13, and they're going to feed.
That is going to be number 7, J.P. Redmond.
Senior, 5'10", 190.
Not bad size for a running back, Eddie.
Absolutely not. And that's actually more of the prototype size nowadays. You used to see running backs 6'2", 6'3", but nowadays with the way they're teaching tackling, you want them lower to the ground, a lower center of gravity. So when you hit the middle, you can make nice quick jump cuts, and those legs are shorter and thicker.
So a big third down here coming up for the Yellow Jackets, 3rd and 9 from their own 39.
Yellow Jackets come out in an empty formation.
And we're going to have a timeout from the Yellow Jackets.
And if I had to guess, they came out empty, so they were expecting that they had lured Averett in with the runs and expected Averett to come out in a run-stop defense and wanted to catch them off guard going empty and throw it deep. Looks like Averett was well prepared. That's a testament to Coach Burnett, the defensive coordinator, having his guys ready.
This time, we do want to let all those know who are participating in our halftime activity. Please begin making your way to the meeting point. The organization of our halftime activities. Please begin making your way to the meeting.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, we are just about ready to restart things here. 3rd and 9 for Randolph-Macon. Ball on its own 34.
They are empty again. Trips right. And they are going to take a shot across the middle of the field. They find their tight end. And across half field they get to the 41-yard line.
So that was number 87, Sam Tanner, with the catch. And then it was also I thought it was number 2, Eddie, but I don't see number 2 here on the depth chart. So I guess maybe I was wrong on that one. But either way, it's a first down and a big gain. About 14 on the play.
Under center they go. And they feed the Senior. No gain.
And that was number 55, Nicholas Brown. 6 feet, 255 pounds. Now, Eddie, one story, I think you've been here long enough to remember this. Of course, Brown was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma back a couple of years ago and had to sit out a season, had to take a bit of time off from school to get his treatments under control, but he got cancer-free and has now come back for his senior season. So hats go off to Mr. Brown. He's a great young man, great kid. Had the privilege of interviewing him not too long ago.
It's absolutely great. That's the likens of the story of a James Conner. James Conner, Pitt running back, and went through similar situations. Now he's a running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And, of course, you got Eric Berry. He's still with the Chiefs, isn't he?
He is. And, he came back, and unfortunately 2 nights ago they played the Patriots and had the season-ending injury. But, like you said, an all-pro safety. Well,
and Brown just really, you've got to tip your hat to him. He was 19 years old, Eddie, when, he found that out. And full-time student, full-time football player, and found out at the start of preseason training camp. Actually found out for real day before Thanksgiving. And that pass is complete over to number
Tanner
87,
again.
Tanner.
And that is a great – and actually – Davin, the catch did not count.
Huh. Did we have a penalty on it?
They said the ball hit the ground, actually, Davin.
Huh.
It looked like he made the catch falling backwards, but.
Looked like he did, too. I had the binoculars on it. It looked like he made the catch. Of course, we don't have the best view up here, but Averett making another big stand on defense. 4th and 12 now. And Bennett back at about the 10 to receive.
Almost able to break the last punt for a touchdown.
And we're going to have a penalty on the Cougars. Looks like offsides, or I don't know, we may have a false start. We are going to have a false start. And so that's going to push the Yellow Jackets back another 5.
Well, you got to And that's whoever's calling the snaps, that's on them. You've got to let your players get set, especially when you're shifting the way that Randolph-Macon is. You've got to let all your players get set.
You do, and you normally don't go until you hear that 1 count.
A nice high arcing punt.
And Bennett's just going to wisely let that roll back into the end zone for a touchback. And so Averett will start things off here deep in its own territory. So really a defensive battle here so far. Not exactly something I was expecting to see coming into this game. Was expecting to see a little bit more offense. And
well, Randolph-Macon was hoping that the catch by Tanner would count, as that was a big catch, a big-time catch to get them on the opposite side of the field, but it didn't. Nevertheless, we're here, and Averett has the ball. Slot in motion off to Bigelow. Bigelow goes nowhere.
Not a bad idea by running that play and trying to kick it out to the outside there. Just in the end, unfortunately unable to do so. But Bigelow really, Coach Cleve Adams has a good feeling about him, likes him, and I had the privilege of interviewing him last week after the Hampden-Sydney game, and is really impressed with how mature he is for his age, being a freshman.
And they give it to Bigelow again. And it's a nice way to hit the outside and see. I don't know how he saw that linebacker flowing over top, but he saw him and was able to jump cut him. And just didn't see the second backer come in.
And Eddie, I think Bigelow a little frustrated. I think he need one more cut to his left right there, and he's got the first down and then some.
Absolutely. 3rd and 4 coming up. I expect a screen of some sorts, a slant maybe. Or a run to Bigelow. And the ball falls out, but I think he might have been called down.
I think he was down. And
Davin, that's, I want to say the second fumble that's been called down this game. They lost 1 earlier, so 3 total this game if you want to count them all as fumbles. And it doesn't matter if you're down or not. You got to keep control of the ball.
You do, and that's one thing right there. And Averett really kind of used that to its advantage last week, with the turnovers and really kind of kept them in the game when it seemed like Hampden-Sydney might be gaining a little bit of momentum. And Eddie, Hampden-Sydney, a very hostile place to come in and play. Not to say anything bad about the people. They're great fans, but they definitely show a lot of love for their Tigers. And we're going to have a timeout on the field.
And, Davin, I want to point out one thing. Bigelow has on sleeves, as well as number 80, Miles Johnson. They both have on sleeves, and they're both freshmen now. They both fumbled in this game. Ball handlers don't usually wear sleeves. Because of that reason, the ball gets slippery on that nylon surface. And so most coaches don't allow their athletes to wear sleeves, but in this case they do. And you just got to, if you're going to wear sleeves, you got to hold on to that ball extra tight. You do.
You got to cup that top hand over it and just really make sure that ball is glued to your side when you are headed down the field. So Randolph-Macon nearly blocking that punt right there. You can hear their coaching staff in the box next to us, and they know how close they came to that one right there.
So 126 remaining in the first half, knotted up at 7 apiece. Going to be 1st and 10 for Randolph-Macon.
And they're going to start at about the 27.
And the quarterback wants to hurry up and catch the Averett defense off guard. Jet sweep play action. And he finds Frederick on the outside. That's going to be a first down.
Almost.
And he does get out of bounds.
Looked like a gain of about 20 right there. Frederick getting involved now with the passing game as well as the running game, so it's another factor for head coach Cleve Adams and Burnett to keep in mind moving forward here as we near the end of the first half of this defensive battle, 7-7, 1:07 remaining.
Play action, and the quarterback is going to go down.
And that is going to be number 30, Miller with the sack. So big play right there. And are we going to have a timeout down here now from Averett or from Randolph-Macon? So Averett really getting a big defensive stop there. The sack is Estes was back to pass there. So Averett talking it over right now in the huddle. And I believe it was Miller, the defensive end, senior defensive end, 6'2", 240.
And just want to mention, versus Dixon, Burke Estes had 191 passing and Trey Frederick had 97 rushing yards apiece. So both are threats through the ground and air as we have a play action, and he's going to go deep.
And ball just a little overthrown down there. Great coverage, though, double coverage coming in there from number 1, Kevin Norcott, and then number 43, Bradley Jefferson, who already has one pick for the Cougars tonight.
Davin, I expect one more shot down the field, and if they don't get it, they're going to punt the ball as deep as they can and make Averett drop the field in the last 30 seconds.
Make them drive the field, and really with Westbury's leg, all they really need to do is just get within about the 35 to 45-yard range, and Averett could go into the half with the lead.
And they actually give it to Frederick. They're all ODAC player.
Frederick got about 6 on that one, so nowhere close enough for the first down.
I almost said all pro, but this is not a professional game.
Now, we have had a couple. We've had Jeff Hughley. He went to the Canadian Football League, I believe, maybe Indoor Football League. So Averett has had some guys play at the higher levels. And so we've got another timeout here on the field, and it's going to be interesting to see if maybe when Averett gets the ball back, does Cleve Adams maybe try to take a shot or two down the field and try to get into quick field goal range, or just try to keep playing that methodical run game between Bowman and Bigelow.
And you know what else is a possibility, Davin? You just take a knee and take it to half.
Just take a knee and take it to half, and you don't risk the turnover, right?
You don't risk the turnover, injuries. But I would expect at least one shot down the field.
I would expect so too, Eddie, especially coming in against a team like Randolph-Macon and just trying to get that early advantage. And, boy, I tell you one thing, Eddie, this defensive line from Averett really just kind of blowing through right now. Those front five for the Yellow Jackets on punts. And so let's see what head coach Cleve Adams and offensive coordinator Shannon Johnson want to do here. Do you go ahead, try to take a couple shots down the field? I don't know. With the ball at your own 11-yard line, Eddie, I don't know how you feel, but I say maybe play it a little bit more conservatively.
Well, they've got Christian Miles in the game. He's going to come from under center.
Well, they might be looking to pass it if Miles is in. Let's see what happens.
And they run the ball with Bowman. Bowman almost able to escape, has a linebacker tied to his shoelace there.
It looked like he got about 6 on the play.
20 seconds, Averett in no rush.
both teams out of timeouts here in the first half. So nobody can stop the clock right now, and Averett's just going to let it go on and let the clock tick off the final 7 seconds. So, Eddie, you hear the Averett fans here really showing their Cougars their appreciation. And right now, I tell you one thing, Averett has done a great job. Really defensive showdown between these two squads right now. And 7-7 is your game and a half. And, Eddie, we're going to take a quick break. I think we've earned it here. We've been talking for just about an hour straight, so I think we've earned a little respite. So we're going to go ahead and take that, but we'll be back here in a little bit on the Averett Sports Network. And ladies and gentlemen, we are back here on the Averett Sports Network. I'm former Assistant Sports Information Director Davin Wilson. I'm joined here by the wonderful Eddie Glenn, and you have joined us for today's halftime show brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. So we're going to take a look here at some stats in the first half, first off team-wise. Right now, Randolph-Macon, both teams very even on the ground. Randolph-Macon, 129 net yards on 20 attempts. Averett with 105 yards on 22. And, Eddie, the big difference right now in this one has been passing. Randolph-Macon, 105 yards, AU with 31. But one big thing that has been the turning point in this game has been the 2 interceptions, including the one in the end zone that Norcott was able to come down with and really keep Randolph-Macon off the board. Total yards, Randolph-Macon right now, 234 total yards on 32 total offensive plays. Averett 28 total offensive plays and 136 yards. So as we were talking about, that was one. The turnovers have been the big key in this one. And right now, Eddie, you were pointing it out, at halftime as we were going down to get something to eat. Trey Frederick, 13 carries, 135 yards, has not crossed the threshold yet, though, for the Yellow Jackets. And Eric Hoy really been limited so far, just to 5 yards on 3 attempts. And then Joe McBride has done a great job, too. 6'11", does have the 2 interceptions, 105 yards through the air, 1 TD. And his favorite target has been Sean Mcdonald, who he's just targeted one time, but it was for 38 yards. And then, of course, for Averett right now, Sean Bowman, 81 total yards on 14 carries. Delquan Bigelow, 6 carries, 17 yards. And then Eubanks 3 for 4, 37 yards through the air. And then Miles Bennett has the 1 catch for 21. So, Eddie, going to turn it over to you for a minute, let you take over. I've got to get to work on my other job, but I'll be back with you here once we start things off in the second half.
And thank you, Davin. If I could pick a player of the half, I'm picking the entire Averett defense as the player of the half. Even though that Randolph-Macon has 234 total yards, the Averett defense has contained them and caused turnovers, as you mentioned. 2 interceptions to start the game, 2 of them in the first quarter, 1 by a freshman and 1 by a senior. So that's good variety there. Nevertheless, you got the interceptions. Also, as you mentioned, for Randolph-Macon, had to pick a player of the half. Picking Travis Frederick, 135 rushing yards, and his longest on the game was 57. Now and that will be a game high for Travis Frederick. His last game, he ran for 97 yards, I believe it was. And he's already eclipsed that in the first half. So Travis Frederick looking to have a very big night, almost similar to the last time he played Averett. He had 283 all-purpose yards and 3 touchdowns. He's already got 1 touchdown as receiving. So he's doing pretty good so far if he's trying to stay on track of last year. As we get this second half kicked off, knotted at 7 apiece. As Cole Westbury boots it down the field. Randolph-Macon will bring it out. He gets popped a couple times as he's going to struggle to make it back to the 20. So Randolph-Macon will trot out onto the field on offense first, looking to open the half up big. There's some points on the board. Averett defense has to come out firing on all cylinders again. They can't let coming out of the locker room, going back in and coming out affect them. They have to come out on all cylinders as they send Frederick in motion to the other side, and they'll give it to him on a halfback power play from the shotgun. The 2-yard gain. Shotgun again, same formation. Drop back, slant caught. Streaking through the middle of the field, trying to find a crease. That's going to be about a 19-yard gain on the pass. So first down, Randolph-Macon. Able to take a 3-yard slant for 19 yards. That's Odell Beckham-like. Something that Odell Beckham specializes in. Jerry Rice specialized in as well, was taking that slant play and really turning it upfield through the linebackers and safeties. Under center comes Randolph-Macon and hand it off to Travis Frederick, and he's going to be stopped in the backfield. It's a 2-yard loss. And that's Don Warren on the tackle. Big defensive end getting back there and blowing things up. It's a play action. And the quarterback threw it anyway. Almost found an open receiver to rush, able to get to him. Looked like that was Tymondre Isaac on the rush there. Coming from like a nickel corner position almost. Averett does come out in the nickel. Extra DBs on the field as Randolph-Macon has no running backs. And that's Estes trying to put it in a window smaller than the driver's seat of a car. Does not go. Pass was almost intercepted as it got knocked around the middle of the field. And we'll force a Randolph-Macon punt. Fair catch called. Ball will be placed at around the 28-yard line. It's a good way to open up the half on defense to get a quick 4 and out. And let up that one big play. And after that, really nothing going for the Randolph-Macon offense. Nevertheless, Eubanks in at quarterback. A handoff to Bowman. Bowman gets stuck at the line of scrimmage. Same formation, same motion, same play, and almost the same result. D'Angelo Barr all over the field for this Randolph-Macon defense, making plays all first half. And he's continuing to make them. D'Angelo Barr, 6 total tackles in that first half. Shawan Phillips had 8 total himself for the Randolph-Macon defense. Averett comes out in a shotgun and trips right. Drop back pass all the way. Eubanks scrambling and couldn't find anything. So he will be taken down. That will bring up a 4th and 6-ish situation. 4th and 4. It looks like he got back to the line of scrimmage. Cole Westbury to punt. Eric Hoy, who's very dynamic, not being able to get loose in this game at all. And that ball will take a friendly Averett roll all the way down to the 23. Randolph-Macon takes over at the 23. Looking to get the wheels going on offense. They've got to get behind Trey Frederick. A play-action smoke screen. And they get their playmaking wide receiver. Looking like Christian Redmond, they got that pass complete to on a smoke screen. He got about 12, 13 yards. It's enough for a first down.
And, Eddie, that's one thing that we've been seeing a lot of tonight, and definitely with these two teams having such a talented running game. You know, a lot of screen passes, a lot of, trying a lot of behind the tackles play, I guess is the best way to put it, what I want to try to say.
And give it to Travis Frederick up the middle, and he finds a seam, gains his balance. He's out for about a 23-yard gain.
And so that was Norcott coming up with the tackle, and that proved to be crucial as Frederick was probably on his way to the races if it wasn't for that tackle. Either way, Randolph-Macon right now has the ball on the Averett 40-yard line.
And Davin Frederick is so fast that he was stumbling and still running past defenders.
He was, and very talented guy being able to keep his balance like that. And Frederick again, but the Cougars are going to be ready for him this time, and it is going to be number 58, Covington, coming down with the tackle. And it actually looks like that is going to be a loss of 1.
Absolutely blowing that play up.
And Covington does such a great job of getting into the backfield, getting off that line, and really just blowing up plays. We've seen him get through a couple of times, and I know he's got at least 3 for a loss tonight so far.
Davin, watch out. Eric Hoy is over here wide. Quarterback checked him before the play. They hand it to Frederick, and he gets blown up again. Looks like that was 59, Don Warren, coming from the opposite end.
So right now, these defensive ends for Averett really doing their job, cutting down that Yellow Jackets running game, as we've seen Covington and Warren both get involved in the action on this drive. The Yellow Jackets second. I keep wanting to call them the Wildcats, Eddie. I'm thinking Randolph up in Lynchburg and not Randolph-Macon. So haven't done it yet, though, so let's take note of that.
I can't find him on the sideline, but I believe the O-line coach is going absolutely ballistic for Randolph-Macon. 2 back-to-back. Blowing up plays, and the quarterback gets nailed by Don Warren, bringing the hammer, Davin, from the end. Quarterback able to release the ball, but he's going to go to the sideline and talk to athletic trainers, see if he can get some ice.
Yeah, he's going to definitely feel that one in the morning. If Randolph-Macon is spending the night down here, I hope they are staying at the Holiday Inn Express, because that way you can definitely get a refresher, because Warren just put the lumber to him right there. I mean, Warren was a refrigerator right there, Eddie.
Absolutely beautiful hit if you're an Averett fan. That's a good punt.
And Bennett will just take a fair catch on that one. So one thing that we've seen here, Eddie, really neither team able to really get a decent start field-wise, field position-wise, just really having a hard time doing so thus far. And I think that's definitely, when you're playing with that big field, Eddie, that can be problematic sometimes, especially when you focus so much on a running game like both of these two teams do.
Absolutely, and we see Eubanks in at quarterback again. 2 receivers to the right. They motion and 1 across. Give the ball to Bowman. Almost a bobbled handoff, and Bowman will get loose from the tackle.
And Bowman did. He broke free there. Looked like he could have possibly had a little bit more there. But in the end, it was Jordan Rochester laying the wood right there. And so Bowman, still enough, though, to make it a second and short situation for the Cougs. They're going to hand off to Bowman again, but Bowman fights forward. He is going to be short. By how much will be determined. He was brought down, and excuse me, that was not Rochester with the tackle just a second ago. It was actually Michael Rollins. And then this time, yeah, I believe it was Rollins again getting in on the tackle.
In a 3rd-and-1 situation, I fully expect this to be a run to Bowman. And Randolph-Macon looks like they might have stopped him to bring a possible 4th and inches.
And Eddie, at this point,
and he picks up the first down.
And I was looking down there. I noticed the special teams had not come onto the field yet. I was thinking at this point in the 3rd quarter, it's a hot ball game. No reason to give the Yellow Jackets even better field position. But in the end, it won't matter because it's a first down anyway.
Absolutely. And if it was 4th and inches, I think Coach Adams could have taken a chance and given it to Bowman. As they motion across the freshman again, he gets the ball, looking for space on the outside. Does not find it. He does get a gain of around 4.
So Miles Johnson there. It looked like maybe a sweep, wide receiver screen, something on that, Eddie?
A jet sweep is
accurate way to put it.
More accurate, most accurate way to put a name to a play. Jet sweep to the speedy receiver there.
And now they've got him lined up to the right over there again. Of course, it would be a run to Bowman and run between the tackles. And Randolph-Macon just waiting for it. Of course, Bowman looking to get maybe about 5 yards right there.
It's going to have 3rd and 4 coming up.
Got actually 6 on that 3rd and 4th on the 31.
Eubanks back. They're going to play action. They're going to try him deep. And it's actually caught by number 14, Kobe Campbell, the junior out of Harmony, North Carolina.
And we've got a flag on the play. And it's going against Averett, and woo.
That's tough, Davin.
That is. Big play right there, as that was easily, you're probably looking at about a 40-yard pass right there, 40-yard completion.
40-yard completion, and the longest, the only deep shot down the field that Averett has even attempted this whole game to be completed down the sideline and be called back. You cannot have silly flags like, I think it was holding, to bring it back. So,
well, at least it's one of the 5-yard variety and not, or actually holding is 10 yards now. Excuse me, Eddie.
Eubanks on a play action bootleg there.
And that pass was intended for number 80, Miles Johnson. It's going to be broken up by number 20, Anthony Williams. And Westbury will now come on to punt.
And, Davin, every wide receiver and every head football coach will tell you, if the ball hits your hands, you should catch it. And that's what, I guarantee you, that's what his coach will be telling him when he comes off to the sideline. And it'll be preached until he stops playing football. Westbury fumbles the snap, still able to get the punt off. And that might have hit a Macon player. I don't think it did.
No, the way they're going, it's ball has been blown dead. But Westbury, not a bad job there to kind of take that must snap.
Disastrous situation there.
Yes.
Could have been absolutely terrible. We could be looking at Randolph-Macon setting up offense from the 11.
Well, Averett had a play last week against Hampton Sydney where they had the field goal set up, and it was an awkward snap, and Westbury ended up having to take it himself. I believe it was Westbury. Ended up having to take it himself and really nothing going there.
Hand off to Frederick. Frederick's finding some space on the outside, and he does get a first down.
And he got about 15 there. Norcott, though, being all over the field like he's done so far, and he's pushes Frederick out of bounds right there. But it was still, all in all, a gain of about 15 right there by Frederick. So Eddie really, really surprised both of these teams. Not more offense. 7-7 is your score. Of course, Randolph-Macon putting up 41 points in the win against Dickinson last week. And Eddie, they didn't do that in one big quarter. They were very methodical. They would get 10 points here, 10 points in the first, 14 in the second. And it wasn't a big quarter. And that play is complete. Looked like it might have not been going anywhere at first. The pass is going to be complete to number 4, Christian Redmond, the 5'10 junior, 180 pounds. So going to look at about 2nd and 4 now.
Shotgun formation, trips left, no tight ends to the right.
So McBride with a nice play fake there.
Curl route. Complete for a first down.
And that one is going over to Harrison Smith, the 6'1 junior, 190 pounds out of Wilmington, North Carolina. Kind of a change of pace there for the young man. Going to a place like Wilmington, very coastal community, going up to Ashland, which is about 45 minutes north of Richmond. And so Frederick's going to have the first and then some. Looks like a gain of about 11. Cheeks with the tackle. So Randolph-Macon threatening. Averett's defense looking to come up with another big stop. 20 yards away are the Yellow Jackets from taking their first lead of this contest. McBride back in the shotgun.
Come out in the same formation, Davin, just to the opposite side. And they're going to run the same play, Davin, just to the opposite side.
And that's going to bring up a first down as Frederick able to get it. And Covington once again getting in on the action defensively for the Cougars. And Kenneth is such a leader on that field. I remember doing the season previews for him for Averett last year and being down there in the huddles at the end of practice and even some in the scrimmages. And really Covington just really a leader on this ball team and leader of this defense. He and Warren both.
Absolutely.
So McBride under center once again. Hand off to Frederick.
And it off again.
Frederick ran into about 4 Averett defenders there. And he is going to be brought down by number 3, Dejon Brooks.
And Davin, they say, if it ain't broke, why fix it? Frederick had 135 rushing yards in the first half alone. So if they're not stopping them, why not keep giving it to them? With the run game, you get 2-yard plays, 3-yard plays, 40-yard plays. So
yeah, that's it.
You've got to stay faithful to the run game.
And here's a little fake.
Quarterback saw nothing.
So McBride down at about the 14.
And
gain of 3.
Usually, Davin, on screen plays, you always have a backside receiver for an extra route. So if the screen is absolutely blown up, you'll have an extra option. If not, then your running back should flare out to the opposite side to give you something else so your quarterback's not running into the teeth of linebackers.
Yeah, and especially, definitely want to keep that guy early in the season. Don't want him taking any big hits.
And Davin, now 3rd and 7. The crowd is shaking the building here. And pass goes over top for a Randolph-Macon touchdown.
And that is going to be Number 89, Sean Mcdonald, tight end, 6'3" tight end, junior, 235 pounds, out of Boyce, Virginia, coming up with the score. And just like that, Randolph-Macon has his first lead of the night.
This is a quarterback that loves his tight ends. As we saw, he was hitting Tanner earlier over the middle, and now, again, for the touchdown, that field goal kick was almost blocked. But it is 14-7 now, with 1:06 remaining in the third quarter. Cougars trail, like you said, for the first time in this game. And this is a situation where you cannot get down on yourself. There's a lot of football to play. And they've just got to play like it's 0-0 or 7-7 still and try and tie this ball game up. Nothing extra. No need for unnecessary hits or unnecessary penalties. There's a lot of football to play.
There is, Eddie, and we're still looking at about 16 minutes altogether, at least of clock time.
And I was about to say 16 minutes of clock time is about 45 minutes of real time.
That's it. It's been a very enjoyable game here so far through the first 45 minutes or so. And once again, 45 minutes of clock time. We're hitting on about an hour and 45 minutes of total game time here altogether. Oh, and
Bigelow taking a hit there.
He did. He took one.
He's going to wake up with a free tattoo in the morning.
Yes, he will. It said, "Welcome to collegiate football, kid." Taking a big shot right there, but Bigelow, a tough young man.
He is. He's been running hard all game.
And Averett, once again, is going to have to start the ball in deep in its territory, 22 yards. So if Averett's going to get the ball in here, they're going to have to go at least 78 yards down the field. They do have the capability to do it.
To me, if I was an Averett coach, as they give it off to Bigelow here, and he almost gets tackled in the backfield, he's going to reverse fields, cut back through the middle, reverse fields again, and gets tattooed again. Wow.
About a gain of 3 right there, though. I mean, that was a blown play altogether, Eddie.
Absolutely. That could have been a loss of 3.
Yeah.
After about 54 yards of running, he got a gain of 3.
Well, almost kind of very David Wilson-esque right there, as he was able to just cut the ball east to west and then back to west to east, and really just doing a great job to come through here and give the Cougars positive yards. So a little screenplay, yeah.
And Davin, if I'm an Averett coach, I'm coming out in the shotgun, and I'm trying to. My plan is to spread this defense out as far as possible to open up run lanes for Bigelow and Bowman, as there's an Averett first down on the field for Bigelow and Bowman.
So Eddie, one thing right now, Johnson has really done a good job of coming in here, and he's made some good plays, nice catches, and we'll see if he gets a little bit more involved. Bigelow, though, just kind of he meets a nest of Yellow Jackets, and
getting chippy down there.
It is, and one thing that we saw last week against Hampton Sydney is that Averett kind of lost his head a little bit late in the game and really kind of let the referees start taking things over. But we are through 3 here at Frank R. Campbell Stadium. Randolph-Macon holding on to a 14-7 lead.
And the Cougars looking to battle back. As we mentioned earlier, started off in not the best field position, but able to get a first down. Bigelow turning a loss into a gain and running real powerful, and then they had a quick little play-action pop screen. And now it's second down and 7. So Coach Adams looking for some smart play calling. I'm looking to get his team back on the board.
And, Averett very, conservative right now, and I think it's very understandable with such a young offense. But you kind of got to wonder at some point, when do you try to take a shot down the field and see if you can't catch them sleeping? And
again, their safeties are playing at linebacker depth, Davin. Their Randolph-Macon's defenses, as that running back swing does not go far. Goes for about a yard and a half.
About a yard and a half there, exactly. And
But the Randolph-Macon's playing run all the way. They're playing all this short stuff, keeping in front of you. And they're daring Averett to throw it deep almost. As when Averett did, they completed it.
They did.
Got a silly penalty to bring it back. So if I'm Averett, I'm going deep again at some point.
Why not try to catch a guy in the slot or maybe catch him off on the flat, catch him over the flat and, heck, even try to see if you can airmail one down the side.
And here's one right here. Eubanks is going to uncork.
A little bit too much on it. Had Bennett in single coverage over the middle, and Averett's punt team will come on once again. So Randolph-Macon with a chance here to try to start putting a little bit of distance between itself and Averett.
Averett going to put their trust in the defense to come out and get a stop.
And why not? It's a well-coached defense and a well-experienced defense. And, at this point in the game, you only trail by possession. No need to get gutsy.
Fair catch called by Eric Hoy.
And Eddie, I don't know about you. I didn't see his hand come up. It was one of those things he just did a little flick or something like that, yeah.
And Eric Hoy has really been contained all this game. First half, he didn't have many yards at all. He was really held to 5 yards rushing and no receiving yards at all. So Averett doing a great job of holding this first team all ODAC player to a minimal of half of a first down. And you've got to think they're going to get him more involved here in this bubble screen right here.
Ooh. And we heard that hit from up here, Eddie.
Absolutely.
We heard that hit. That was number 9, Nathaniel Lake. And let's hope they've got some courtesy Tylenol or something down there on the field, because that was a crunch right there.
And as some of the guys on my hall say, delivering the boomstick diving.
And Lake definitely delivered it right there, Eddie. There's no doubt about that one. 13:27 remaining here. 14-7, Randolph-Macon.
Frederick up the middle. Nice 11-yard gain.
Yeah, and Frederick right now is proven to be worrisome for Averett, as I think this defensive line might just be tiring down a little bit. They've been out on the field a whole lot in this game. Been out in this field a whole lot, especially in the second half. And Eddie, Averett have a lot of potential on the offensive end of the ball. They have Bennett, they have Miles, they have they have Bowman. They have Bigelow, so they have a lot of weapons, just trying to figure out how to use them, and that play's going nowhere, and it's actually going to end up in about a loss of 4.
Well, Eric Hoy dropped the ball on the catch, so it'll go back to the line of scrimmage, but as you referred, vicious hit there, and would have come off of the block and absolutely tattoo Eric Hoy again. If I'm Eric Hoy, I'm getting tired of it.
Yes, and I believe that was Lake again on the hit. And, boy, Lake is going to make sure that his name is branded on some of these Yellow Jackets players. Been a very clean game, though, played between these two sides.
Under center, fake to Trey Frederick, excuse me. I don't know what was said to Averett's defense in that break, but whatever Coach Burnett told him, he needs to tell him again, because they absolutely laying the wood this drive.
And, Eddie, that looked like a first down, but it's going to come up about a yard short. So right now, Randolph-Macon with the ball on its own 48-yard line. Averett looking to make a big stop here, getting midway through the fourth quarter. Trailing by 7. The crowd getting involved here at Frank R. Campbell Stadium. Ooh, and Frederick is going to get it by hair. Maybe a gain of 2 right there, it looks like.
And that's how we mentioned earlier, keep those feet churning, and you'll get. All he needed was 2 yards, and he got it.
And, Eddie, do you think with the lead right now getting late in the game, do you think we'll see any kind of big bombs down the field by the Yellow Jackets?
Absolutely not. With 11:42, their entire game plan right now is going to be to run the ball, keep the clock going, and if not, they're going to do as they did before, throw bubble screens to their other playmaker, Eric Hoy. I don't see any reason for them to take a shot down the field. Just kill the clock and score.
That's it, and I don't see any reason either, and especially you've got a talented running game. Averett stacking the box.
Trey Frederick again.
Frederick about a gain of 4 on the play. That will put the ball down at the Averett 46. Averett starting off against two tough teams in the ODAC, and Coach Adams and his coaching staff right now, while there are some definite things to work on, I think at the end of the day, I think Coach Adams has got to be feeling very good about where his team is at, right now at this point in the season, just through 2 weeks. And, of course, they actually kick off conference play next Saturday against Ferrum. They go up to Ferrum. Then the following week they have Methodist University.
And that's an end around to Eric Hoy.
Ooh, had me fooled. I thought Frederick had the ball, Eddie.
Eric Hoy not able to get anything going this game. If I had to guess, again, like you say, unofficial stats, I have to say Eric Hoy has inside of 20 yards total this game.
So we're looking at a 3rd and 4 on the 44 of the Cougars. Going to have number 58, Kenneth Covington, back into the game for the Cougars, looking to stop that run game.
Averett's crowd getting loud. This is what they call the money down, Davin. Drop back, screen pass. That was completed to number 4, Christian Redmond, who will pick up the first down.
And a beautiful play call right there. They had Averett think and run the whole entire way and just dropped back and got rid of the ball pretty quickly, and it's a first down. And they are now 37 yards closer to making this a 2-score game. Of course, Averett's red zone defense has been very efficient as well today, coming through with that big interception in the first quarter. So maybe the Cougars can get another one here. But as we were talking about, of course, right now Randolph-Macon with trips to the right. So we'll see if they're going to. And just as we thought, Eddie, and Frederick's going to break one there.
And like I said, their game plan is run it. They're happy with 5-yard gains. If they get to 4th down in this territory right here, they're more than happy to kick the field goal. If Travis Frederick breaks one, then now they're up by 2 touchdowns. So no need to be risky and risk anything, risk giving Averett another chance. Randolph-Macon is going to continue screens and runs.
Just nickel and dime them to death, right, Eddie?
Tell the playmakers to keep their hands on the ball and don't let go.
Say, hold on loosely. Sorry, you might be a little young for that song right there, sir.
You're the pop culture guy. Run out. I believe that looks like Eric Hoy running the ball that time. That might be his longest play of the day.
And right now, Eddie, I think this Averett defense just wearing down. I mean, they have been on the field so much here in the second half. And, in fact, I think Averett's going to burn a timeout here. They will, and you see Randolph-Macon right now. They are feeling it.
They have to. And the Randolph-Macon offense is just gashing this run defense of Averett. They are just 6 yards, 7 yards, 8 yards, 4 yards. I mean, it's wearing you down. It's first down after first down after first down. This Randolph-Macon's team's been on the field for almost 5 minutes now. So. And
Eddie, no matter how this one turns out, I mean, you look at it last year, Averett, they went up to Ashland to play. 44-10 loss up there. Averett able to hang with the Yellow Jackets in the first half, but it was Randolph-Macon pulling away. Then the year before that, they won 49-21, 48-16. So, I mean, really the closest game was back in 2011 when Averett only lost by 8. So, I mean, Averett right now doing a good job of really staying with the Yellow Jackets more than they have in the past 6 years.
And, Davin, after this timeout on first down, I fully expect a play-action run.
And Randolph-Macon's got the line stacked right now.
Nope, they're going to give it to Eric Hoy. No need to change it.
Well, it looked like Randolph-Macon had 7 up front right there. So, of course, if you have 7 up front, it takes away an extra receiver or 2.
Absolutely. Run all the way.
I believe it takes the tight end away too, doesn't it, Eddie?
Well, what you do is you put 5 or you put 6 on the line, then you have the rest kind of at a fullback or off tackle, tight end, whatever you want to call them, type position. You can call them 2 fullbacks if you want, but it's run all the way.
Outside movement there.
Frederick hitting the smallest of creases.
And he's going to be down at about the 10. So right now, Averett trying to not allow itself to get in too much of a pickle here late in the game, and you see the sideline down here. They are getting pumped up.
And Averett definitely did not want to, but they are more than okay with a field goal coming out of this drive. They just do not want to give up 7.
That's it. You know, a field goal at this point, you got plenty of time to come back, whittle it back down to 3 or even sorry, Eddie, lost where I was going with that. And overthrown. It looked like he had a tight end out there.
And, Davin, that's what I was looking forward to coming out of that timeout break. He actually had both of his tight ends wide open in the end zone. It was just his choice, and he overthrew his favorite target.
Well, and Averett perhaps catching a little bit of a break right there as they had 2 guys. McBride had 2 guys to work with that were wide open in the end zone.
So this will bring out the field goal unit. Averett's going to hope that he misses this field goal.
And the kick is through, and it's now a 17-7 game, but Eddie Averett has got to be feeling good about that. 6:47 left. They have time to get the ball back down the field, and you know, one thing that it's kind of completely off topic, but I was covering a high school game last night, and I really saw a lot of squib kicks and a lot of onside kicks, and really it was kind of a freak play there towards the end of the game. It's onside kick. Ball bounces off one of the front lines of the opponent's special teams unit, and the other team recovers the ball. So,
and Davin, this is something that you think about as an Averett coach. If you can score and your kick-out team comes out, do you put your trust in the defense? Do you ask for the defense from the first quarter? Is that what you expect? Or are you expecting the defense from what we just saw? And that will determine if you actually give them the ball or attempt an onside kick. So we're going to see if Averett can at least come out of this drive with a field goal. The old saying on offense is, as long as we end in a kick, we are fine. Macon boots it down the field. Thought the ball popped out, but my eyes deceived me. Ball will be placed at the 29-yard line.
So 17-7 is your score. Averett needing about 71 yards here to get the touchdown. Really, if you can get the ball within the 35, you're well in Westbury's range.
And as we mentioned, Westbury did hit the 51-yarder, so showcase his ranges. This is Sean Bowman. He's going to break a long one. He finds another crease, and Davin, just like that, they are on the 32-yard line. And as we were just saying, this is inside of Cole Westbury's range.
38-yard rush there by Bowman. That's got to be his longest of the night. And don't look yet, Eddie, but Averett trying to cut its deficit back down to possession. You know the saying, it's not over until the fat lady sings.
Play action. And, Davin, I don't know if you've noticed, but this is quarterback Christian Miles in the game. Averett not only running a dual-threat running back game, they're running a dual-threat quarterback game. Sometimes that can be fantastic. Sometimes it can hurt you. Neither quarterback able to get into a rhythm, but both quarterbacks playing just fine today. No interceptions.
And Miles good idea there, just a little bit too much on it.
Handoff to Bowman. Bowman finding another crease. He will hit the edge and get down to the 15-yard line.
About a 17-yard scamper there by Bowman.
And talking about Sean Bowman, that would be a timeout called, actually. And talking about Sean Bowman, Davin, he's just a junior, but he ranks first among all USA South rushers through the first week of the season. He ranks fifth all-time in Averett history in rushing yards and second all-time in rushing touchdowns. And he's just a junior. He's got a whole nother year, Davin.
He does, and he's going to be a real problem. A lot of coaches are going to be studying this Averett running back tandem moving forward in the season.
And Davin, throughout the season, I fully expect there to be more shotgun sets with two running backs in, both Bigelow and Bowman, with cross-fake actions to both Bigelow and Bowman, getting both running backs free. And if they can get that going, my God, I'd be scared as a defensive coordinator.
I tell you, and that's why we were saying, Eddie, Averett really does have a lot of potential. They are young, but they've really got a lot to work with, and they're just going to have to kind of figure out which pieces fit best together.
Bowman does not have the same luck that time.
It looks like he was lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage.
And I don't know how much trust that they put in the quarterbacks, but if I'm Christian Miles, I audible that play as the defense overloaded that side pre-play.
And here it is again. They are gearing up on that right side right now.
That's a quick bubble screen. And freshman, I believe that's Johnson, Miles Johnson, almost making a corner miss. And that is going to be a 1st and goal for Averett from the 5.
So Johnson right now, the leading receiver for the Cougars, 5 receptions, 24 yards.
And Bowman will get in the end zone.
And, boy, I think Bowman knew. I think that things had slowed down for him. I think that he knew that he was in there as he just kind of high-stepped it in there a little bit, Eddie.
Running at about the 3, knowing no one was going to stop him.
Yep.
That's an untouched touchdown for Bowman. And 17-13 currently. We're going to wait on Cole Westbury to decide how close we actually get. Snap and hold. And the extra point is actually blocked. So that makes it a 4. That's actually big, Davin. It is now a 4-point game, which means that Averett would have to get a stop and another touchdown. They cannot get a field goal would not work. They need a touchdown now. That is huge for Randolph-Macon. And that it completely changes the game for Averett. They were happy with, I'm sure, getting a stop and getting down to the 30 and kicking a field goal and at least tying the game. But now they have to get back in the end zone. So now, Davin, I don't know if Averett onside kicks or if with 5 minutes remaining, if they put their trust in the defense.
I think right now, Eddie, you put your trust in the D. It's held up well for you all night, especially in the red zone. They've got the takeaway in the red zone, then they held Randolph-Macon to just the field goal. And, so I think right now if you're Cleve Adams and Tristan Burnett, you just have to trust your D.
.458 remaining. 4-point game here in the home season opener for the Cougars. Cougars with 2 timeouts remaining. I expect Randolph-Macon to get behind the feet of Eric Hoy and Trey Frederick. That ball Booted down the field. Play stopped around the 26. Man. And here we go. Randolph-Macon gearing up to run the ball. I believe that's Eric Hoyle. Looks like at quarterback. And he's going to hand it off to Frederick.
And Eddie, been seeing a lot of that here in collegiate football lately. Teams running those dual quarterback offenses. So Brooks again coming through with the tackle. Both teams with 2 timeouts left as we're getting down to 4:28 here. 2nd down and 8 for the Yellow Jackets from their own 28-yard line.
And Davin, correct football strategy says get a stop here and call a timeout. As Eric Hoyle will pull it, and he's going to hit the outside, find some space. He gets the first down. There's a flag thrown, and this could be huge.
Is this going to be a late hit, Eddie, you think? Or
no,
looked like there was some contact, but it looks like at the same time Randolph-Macon may be preparing to move back. And it's a late hit, and that's going to give Randolph-Macon an extra 15 yards right there from the original line of scrimmage, or not the original line of scrimmage, but where they marked the ball. And so that's going to put Randolph-Macon at the Averett 44. Eddie, I believe that was a first down either way, but you still hate to give up those extra 5 yards there afterwards.
Absolutely hate it because now, a first down and they're in field goal range again. It just makes it even more hard. They're gearing up to run the ball again. 3:47 remains.
And we've got a flag in the backfields. And we had the flag, but I think it was more of a trying to get the officials' attention, the head referee's attention, that Randolph-Macon was wanting the timeout. So 3:45 remaining. And Eddie, right now, Averett caught in 2 close games to open up the season here. Of course, the 3-point loss last Saturday to Hampden-Sydney, and now they trail by 4 with Randolph-Macon driving late in the game, hoping to go ahead and close the door here on the Cougars.
Good thing about being down 4, there's not many good things about it being late in the game, but the one good thing about it is if you score a touchdown here late in the game, it almost seals the game if you're Averett. You just have to get a defensive stop here.
And, of course, Randolph-Macon seems like they could be very efficient at running a 2 or 1 minute offense. And Frederick about halfway there.
And if they can get a stop, a tackle for a loss, or even just a stop here, they call a timeout, and Averett can call a timeout and start preparing to get back on offense. Macon hands it off to Trey Frederick. Almost tackled in the backfield, but he turns it into a gain of 3. There's going to be a timeout called on the field by the Cougars. 2:47 remaining. Cougars down by 4. Cougars in desperate need of a stop. Cougars come back onto the field, strapping up on defense. I expect this team to try and get the crowd loud, as this is going to be one of the deciding factors for this game. Cougars cannot let up a first down here. Randolph-Macon comes out in a shotgun. 2 to the right. A lone receiver on the opposite side. It's going to be Eric Hoy keep and a tackle in the backfield. Coach Adams desperately trying to call a timeout. And they've got to get Coach Adams away from the ref. So 4th down coming up. It's going to be 4th and 5. Averett called a timeout. Randolph-Macon could try an extra long field goal. It would be about a 48-yard field goal. So not a short field goal by any means. They could try one, or they could try and pin Averett deep and make them drive the field in 2:44. Or they could try their luck in going for it. It's going to be interesting to see Randolph-Macon's game plan, and it looks like they're going to try and punt the ball. If I'm Averett, I'm playing it safe. I'm not coming after this. I'm playing it safe and watching the fakes. And if I'm going to let it roll in the end zone, I make sure it rolls into the end zone. I don't watch the ball do anything. 2:44 remaining, 4th and 5. That is a punt. Angled out of bounds. And it's actually going to be down on the 2-yard line. So Averett has their work cut out for them. They have a 98-yard drive ahead of them. And pretty much the entire field to go in 2:35. If you're Averett, I think you start this drive off behind Bowman. Hope he finds a crease and can get you some space to work with, at least get you to the 5, the 10, something. Bowman does find a crease, and he's out to the 15-yard line. They have to hurry up and get on the ball. They don't have time to waste. That is a first down by Sean Bowman. And, of course, in college and first downs, the clock does stop until the chains are set. That's going to be a play action. Averett's going to take a shot. Christian Miles did not see what he wanted. There was a miscommunication with the receivers. And now the clock will continue to run. We're sitting at 2 minutes even right now. Cougars down by 4. Ball placed on the 15. Cougars have to hurry up. They only have one timeout, and they must save it. High snap controlled. Sean Bowman tackled after a gain of about 4. Have to hurry up and get on the ball. This will bring up 3rd down. Incomplete pass. On 3rd and 5. So 4th and 5 now. Cougars fans getting excited, trying to cheer their team on. 1:27 on the clock. Cougars trail by 4. Cougars try a freeze play, try to get someone jumping off sides. On that yellow jacket defense, 5 seconds on the play clock. They've got to snap the ball. Play action to Sean Bowman. And an incomplete pass across the middle. They try a post route. And it was incomplete. So this will bring out Randolph-Macon. And now they are on the 21. And they are in the victory formation. They nailed the ball. Looking to drain the clock here. And what you do in this situation, if you're Randolph-Macon, is you wait till the play clock hits 2 and you snap the ball. Drain as much of that game clock as possible. As we are under a minute now. They're not even going to break the huddle. 10 seconds on the play clock, 45 on the game clock. .30 seconds remain. And unless Averett wants to call a timeout, there's nothing they can do to stop the clock. And it looks like this game will end with 10 seconds remaining. 17-13. Randolph-Macon over Averett. A hard-fought game. The Cougars with 2 interceptions in the first quarter. Sean Bowman late in the game with a 5-yard rushing touchdown. Really, he put the team on his back in that second to last drive and took them all the way down the field. Cougar fans, stay locked right here. I'm going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back here with the post-game show. and welcome back to the Averett Cougars post-game show on the Averett Sports Network. This was a viewing of the Averett Cougars against the Randolph-Macon Yellow Jackets. Cougars fell 17-13 in the game, a close one. A hard-fought one that was fought to the very last second of the game. And to give you some quick stats here, Trey Frederick, an absolute monster game. He had 221 rushing yards. And also to add on 32 receiving yards. Eric Hoy, 32 rushing yards as well. Passing-wise, Joe McBride, 197 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Longest receiver, or biggest receiver, best receiver is Christian Redmond, 55 yards. Right behind him, Sean McDonald, 52 yards. Trey Frederick and Sam Tanner tied at 32 apiece. Sean McDonald and Trey Frederick received the 2 touchdowns respectively. Punting, Julian Drew, 228 punting yards. Inside the 20, 3 times out of the 6 times he punted. It's absolutely amazing. Cole Westbury, 7 punts, 279. Inside the 20 twice for the Cougars. Sean Bowman had a nice game as well. 182 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Delquan Bigelow, 22 rushing yards as well. Eubanks, 7. Miles Johnson, 3. Joshua Eubanks had 47 passing yards. Christian Miles, 12. Miles Johnson had 24 receiving yards. Bigelow, 14. Miles Bennett, 21. Leading for the tackles, Dejon Brooks, 12 total tackles. Don Warren, 7 total tackles, 2 tackles for a loss. And then for Randolph-Macon, Shawan Phillips, 10 total tackles. Jake Pinkston, 8 total tackles. D'Angelo Barr, 8 total tackles. And Whitehead with 7 tackles himself. So it was a very run-dominant game as we see both teams. One team, their leading rusher, 221. The other, 182. So absolute monster rushing games. If you are a old-time football fan, this is your type of game. But I enjoyed calling this football game. And again, the Cougars fall to 0-2. Randolph-Macon advances to 2-0 in the ODAC. So, for everybody in the sports department, I want to give a special thanks to the man operating the camera, Colton Dutchess. He did a fine job today. If you see him, give him a high five and a hug. So, for everybody else in the sports information department, for Davin Wilson, my name is Eddie Glenn. Have a good night.
This has been a production of the Averett Sports Network.